We have got some huge news about Stephen Schwartz's next Oz project coming up. Hello fellow Ozians, and welcome to the channel. An article was released yesterday from The National concerning a future Oz film that Stephen Schwartz is working on. Exclusive. Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz confirms Oz sequel film in the works. Stephen Schwartz will never be done with Wicked, for good. It is more than his most famous creation. It has become who he is. He even titled his memoir, Defying Gravity. For Schwartz, Oz creatively, commercially, spiritually, is a path paved in gold. And it's one he continues to shape, question, and return to. And while he's been hinting for months, Schwartz is now ready to reveal to The National exactly where his next steps could lead. A follow-up film musical to Wicked and The Wizard of Oz, based on the second book in L. Frank Baum's series, centered on Princess Ozma, one of the overarching story's most pivotal characters. Tentatively titled Ozma, Schwartz is developing the project along with his longtime collaborator, Winnie Holzman. For Wicked, Schwartz wrote the music and lyrics, while Holzman wrote the book, a dynamic they're set to continue. I feel a little funny announcing this, because I don't know that it will happen. But we're at work on it. We went to Universal and they're very interested, so we're going to see if it will lead somewhere. Schwartz and Holzman have been working on the idea for a couple of years now, he says. It originated from producer and artist George Makrinos, who also wrote the Ages of Oz book series under his pen name, Gabriel Gale. George approached Winnie and me for this, and we were very taken with the story he wants to tell, says Schwartz. Unlike Wicked, which was based on the novel by Gregory Maguire, Ozma will not be a subversive reimagining of the source material, Schwartz says. But Baum's Oz world is very rich also, and he had some very interesting stories that he told subsequent to that first book, and that's what we're playing around with now. This is more a direct adaptation of what Baum wrote, although it has its own spin. But it's based on The Marvelous Land of Oz and is tentatively titled Ozma. So, we're getting a new Oz film that's not based on L. Frank Baum's first book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Instead, we're finally getting an adaptation of a sequel novel. That's extremely exciting. What's even more exciting, at least for me being a big fan of L. Frank Baum, is that this is not an adaptation of Gregory Maguire's second Oz book, Son of a Witch. This is a direct adaptation of The Marvelous Land of Oz. Super exciting. Another thing that's extremely surprising about the article is Gabriel Gale's inclusion in this entire thing. Someone that we haven't heard from in quite a while. Since his book release of The Art of Oz, we haven't really heard much from Mr. Gabriel Gale, so it's at least fun to see that he's still involved with the Land of Oz. And even more exciting, at least to see that he is in the developing stages of this brand new film. In my opinion, it makes at least a little more sense that they would be going to make new films out of the Baum books than the Maguire books, because the Baum books are a little more of what people would expect The Wizard of Oz to be, which is something innocent and childlike. And you can even see that with the reception of the two Wicked films. That's easily the reason why the first film got a better critical reception and also made more money than the second film, because people go into Oz with certain expectations. One of those definitely being that it's going to be more childlike, and much more imaginative and less dark. And that's something that the Baum books definitely have going for them. Speaking as an Oz fan, it also makes sense that they would be going after L. Frank Baum's second Oz book than, say, a later sequel, because people are going to be at least a little more familiar with the characters from that book, like Princess Ozma, Mombi, Jack Pumpkinhead, the Gump. All of these things we have seen before, and people at least have some sort of association if you know Oz films, and that's your only exposure to Oz. These things are not completely coming out of nowhere. You at least have some sort of association with these characters. Now, of course, this isn't the first musical version that's ever been made out of this book. L. Frank Baum did this well over 100 years ago with his not-so-successful stage play called The Woggle Bug. So it's exciting to see that we're getting a brand new adaptation of The Marvelous Land of Oz. Is there anything in particular that you feel has to be there with this new musical version? Or do you think they might pull anything from a later Oz book? Will Dorothy be here? These are all great questions. Let's have a discussion down in the comments section. And if you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. New videos are posted every 2 weeks on the 15th and last day of each month. And if that doesn't satisfy your appetite for Oz, follow the link in the description to ozclub.org and join the International Wizard of Oz Club. Until next time, bye y'all.